Have you ever thought about whether you could, you know,
Send a thought,
yeah, send a thought, not a text, not a call, but like a mental thing,
a mental impulse.
right, to someone,
Yeah.
maybe even influence something that's happening just with your mind. No words or anything. Pretty wild, huh?
I think it's an idea that's always kind of fascinated people, this idea of connection and influence.
Totally. And that's exactly what we're going to look at today. It's called the whisper method.
Yeah.
Now, don't worry, it's not like some kooky secret society thing. It's actually a law of attraction technique, apparently,
Right.
where you supposedly can attract a specific person, change the energy around you, even make your relationship stronger, all just by really focusing your intention, you know?
Yeah, you hear that and there's that initial, is this for real feeling?
Totally.
Hmm.
But the interesting thing is the stuff we're looking at, it actually hints at some real science behind it, like brain stuff, even quantum physics and how powerful our beliefs can be. We're not just taking it at face value, though. We're going to dig into the science a bit and even look at some stories from people who say it works for them.
Which I think is important. Personal stories are compelling, but you always want to see if there's anything more to it, right? Any real mechanisms at play.
For sure. So today, we're going to really try to understand what this whisper method is all about. And then we'll try to connect it to some science to see if there's any how or why to it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
After that, we'll get into how to actually use it, look at some stories, and talk about some traps to avoid if you want to give it a shot.
Sounds like a plan.
Awesome. Let's get started. First things first. What exactly is the whisper method as it's described?
Basically, the material we have frames it as a manifestation technique. You're picturing a message in your mind, a specific one, and sending it to someone you want to connect with. Someone you want to positively influence or maybe even reconnect
So
with.
it's all in your head. You're not trying to actually communicate in a way they'd be aware of.
Exactly. The idea is that our thoughts and emotions, they have an energy to them. Now, this isn't like electricity or anything, but it's a sort of field, maybe, that theoretically can go beyond us, beyond our bodies, and maybe even reach the other person's subconscious.
Wow. So if I'm thinking really hard about an old friend and mentally sending them a message that I want to talk again, the theory's saying this: energy could reach them,
Yeah.
on a level they don't even realize.
That's the basic idea, yeah. And it's really important to say this isn't about controlling anyone or manipulating them. It's about sending good vibes,
Hmm.
love, clarity, or maybe a hope for understanding, and then letting the energy do its thing. No forcing a specific result.
Right. That's a crucial difference. It's not about pulling strings, but more like putting out good vibes.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned some science might be connected to this. That's what really gets me thinking. How could just thinking about something affect someone else, even a little?
Well, there are a few things mentioned. First, neuroscience. Studies have shown that our thoughts aren't just things in our heads. They make real, measurable electromagnetic activity in the brain.
Wait, so our brains are sending out tiny signals all the time, just
Mhm.
as we think.
Exactly. And what's really interesting for the whisper method is that some studies using brain scans show that when someone really focuses on another person, it can cause small changes in the brain waves of the person being focused on, even if they're not physically near each other.
That's pretty wild. So me just concentrating on someone could actually do something in their brain.
It's one interpretation, and it's something the material brings up. Then it gets into quantum physics, specifically something called the double slit experiment.
Oh yeah, that's the one where how you look at tiny particles changes how they act,
Right.
right?
Exactly. And this experiment is used to show that maybe consciousness can actually affect energy and matter, like at their most basic level. Then there's quantum entanglement, where two particles are connected no matter how far apart they are. The material draws a parallel, suggesting that maybe there are similar connections between people, even if we don't understand them fully yet.
So not a direct cause and effect thing, but more like a hidden connection.
Like an analogy to explain how influence might work beyond how we usually think about physical stuff. And finally, there's mention of research into telepathy, things like studies from the Institute of Noetic Sciences.
Right, I've heard of them. They study consciousness and all sorts of stuff that's kind of out there.
Yeah. And some of their research, the source says, shows that maybe sending mental messages is possible under very specific conditions. And then it brings up something we've all experienced, right? Thinking of someone, and then boom, they call or text you.
Oh, all the time.
The source suggests that this could be an everyday example of those energy connections at work.
Man, I've had that happen so many times. You just think it's a coincidence, but maybe it's not. So we've talked about what the whisper method is and some of the science that might, in a way, connect to it. But how do you actually do it? What are the steps?
Well, first, you need a quiet place where you can really focus. No distractions, just peace and quiet.
Makes sense. Got to clear your head.
Yeah. Taking some deep breaths can help with that too. Then you visualize. Close your eyes and picture the person you want to reach. But you picture them happy, smiling, and open to what you're sending. It's key.
So no picturing them upset or anything?
No, it's all about that positive connection, setting the right energy for your message. Then comes the actual whisper part. In your mind, you say the message you want to send. The source gives some examples like, you're thinking of me and want to get in touch, or being around me makes you happy, stuff like that.
So you're creating a positive statement about what you want and mentally sending it their way.
That's it. Whispering implies it's gentle but focused. And here's where it gets really interesting. Step 4 is all about feeling the emotion. Like, really feel the gratitude, joy, certainty, as if what you want has already happened. Believing it's real is supposedly really important.
It's like matching your feelings to what you want to create, not just thinking about it.
That's the idea. And the last step, which can be the hardest, is letting go. Don't obsess about whether it's working or check for results constantly. Just trust that it's in motion. The material says that the more you trust, the better it works. Just go about your day as if it's already happened.
Makes sense. If you're worried about it, you're probably doubting it, which wouldn't help. Okay, we have the steps. But to really get a feel for this, let's look at some stories. The source mentioned a few, right?
Yeah, and it's good to remember these aren't scientific studies, they're just personal accounts. But they do give us some examples of what people say they experienced.
So the first one's about a woman named Samantha who wanted to reconnect with a friend. What happened there?
Well, apparently she used the whisper method for 3 nights in a row, really focusing on reconnecting with this friend. Then on the 4th day, she got a text from the friend, out of nowhere, that just said, "I was just thinking about you."
Whoa, what are the chances?
Right, exactly. Makes you wonder. Then there's Jake. He'd had a falling out with his brother, a bad one. So he used the whisper method to send feelings of love and hoping to patch things up. And guess what? About a week later, his brother called him, apologized for everything. Jake said he never thought that would happen.
That's huge, to heal a rift like that.
Yeah. And the last one is Lisa. She had a crush on a guy at work. The source says she used the whisper method before bed, picturing him being drawn to her. And within a few days, he started talking to her more and eventually asked her out.
3 different situations, 3 positive outcomes after using this method. It's pretty mind-blowing, honestly.
It is, but it's really important to be objective, Everyone's different, results aren't guaranteed. And that leads us to something really important. What are the mistakes people make when trying this?
Right. Knowing what not to do is just as important as knowing what to do. What does the source say about that?
Well, first, not believing in it, doubting it. It says that to make this work, the energy you put into it has to be clear, certain. If you're like, this won't work, that doubt can mess things up. The solution. Focus on believing it can work.
Like, if you're skeptical from the start, you're kind of sabotaging yourself.
Right. Another mistake is being desperate or needy. It says those feelings create resistance. Instead of sending positive energy, you're sending out lack, neediness, which can push people away. So send the intention, but then let go of the outcome. Trust.
Again, it's that trust we talked about earlier. What about the reasons for using this method? Anything to watch out for there?
Absolutely. The source is very clear. Don't use the whisper method for bad stuff, only for love, positivity, good things. It even implies that using it for harm could backfire on you.
Yeah, the intention behind it seems super important. What else do people mess up?
Last one is overdoing it. Apparently, once a day is enough. Doing it too much can create resistance, maybe because you're getting anxious or desperate. It's all about being consistent, but not obsessive.
Gentle approach, not like a forceful thing. That makes sense. Wow, we covered a lot today. We defined the whisper method, looked at the science behind it, learned the steps, heard some stories, and even talked about the pitfalls.
It's pretty thought-provoking, don't you think? The idea that our thoughts and feelings could actually have more power over reality and our connections than we realize.
Totally. It definitely makes you rethink those times when you think of someone and then they reach out. Makes you wonder if we're all more connected than we think. So listener, if you're curious, the information we looked at says to approach the whisper method with belief, good intentions, and a clear focus.
And pay attention to what happens not just externally, but also inside you, how you feel, your sense of connection to everything.
That's a great point. And on that note, we'll leave you with this. Think about how this idea of focused intention, which is what the whisper method is all about, might be bigger than just person-to-person stuff. Could it work in other areas of life? Could it help us understand how we're all connected in ways we don't even know yet? It's definitely something to think about, even after this is over.
Definitely something to ponder.